and didn't have guitar lessons with him. So he could play, because he played guitar. With those fat fingers and hands that he had, he actually played guitar. He could play the blues guitar. So he kept Jimi Hendrix in the band for 2 years. And Jimmy started to learn about what he wanted. He started writing. And it took Jimmy almost 2 years to get together.
64?
Huh?
64?
Before then.
Before.
61, 62, and 63 is when he was in the band. By the time it was 64 came around, he was on his own because he had written at least 50 songs by then.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he was
ready. He was ready for that.
Yeah.
He was doing this thing, and Curtis knew this, but he was in the band.
He didn't waste any time.
No. So the beauty of all of this was I was in and out of the band at that time, but I was playing. He had J.C. Hurd sometimes. He had Ray Lucas.
Alcazar.
Huh?
Alcazar.
Al. Yeah. And one other. There was another drummer that was doing things. But sometimes. But what King Curtis did with me was to keep me around.
Yeah.
I was the bookkeeper. Yes. I was the bookkeeper for him and what he called the kingpins at the time.
Yeah.
So I was always around. Now it took me almost a year. But the first time that I went to sit in, you got to be ready when somebody says, you know, time for you to sit in to play. I said, I'm always ready. I'm always ready. Well, for 6 months, I was every other night where they'd be playing, and most of the time, excuse me, they'd be playing at Small's Paradise.
Small's Paradise.
So being there was the #1 club in all of Harlem. But it was also the #1 club in New York.
Oh.
Yes. Everybody thought that the Village Gate and all these other places were the big club. The big club was Small's, because Small's was big and Small's had a back room. Curtis, the band, would be between the back room and the bar. It would be like, basically he was playing to the bar. But the back room, they could dance.
Yeah.
Well, like I said, every other night I would be at the club asking him, let me sit in, man. Let me sit in. Let me, you know, I'm ready now. I'm ready now. Well, it took him 6 months. Took him 6 months. And he says, okay, come on, Purdie. I was, oh, okay. Yeah, all right. Okay, I'm ready. So I go around, I walk around, and you have to walk around in the back.
Yeah,
to the
that's
side.
that thing.
So you walk around and you walk to the back, you know, to come to the drums. And as the sticks got handed to me, was it J.C. Hurd? But there's another, the other guy I'm trying to think of. Wasn't J.C., but it was another drummer. He turned the sticks over to me. As he turned the sticks over to me, Curtis says, Sister Sadie, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Oh,
I was like, oh my God, what? Yeah. All right, I'm like this. Okay. I'm now I gotta get my foot over the string and the rope, and I gotta get in so I can sit down, and all I could do was the cymbal. That's it. That's all I could do. Just the cymbal, trying to keep the time. So when I finally get in and get to the seat and to sit down, 32 bars had gone by. They turned around and said, "You got it." I said, God, boy, I was so embarrassed. I was so embarrassed because I did not have it together. My solo stunk. I felt like I didn't do anything right. And Sister Sadie was being played. That's how fast. Everything. You sit in this band, you be ready.
Yeah, man. Yeah,
So I was just so embarrassed. I was so embarrassed. And the rest of the band members, they just looked over like, okay, back to the woodshed.
See yo.
You don't get back up here anytime soon. Back to the woodshed. So I had to go back to the woodshed. It took another 6 months or more before I was able to come back in. Now, in the meantime, Hendrix was playing with him, and this was a big band. He had the 2 guitars, bass, piano, and Paul Griffin was now on piano. Horns. He had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 horns. Yeah, 7 horns. It varied from 3 to 7 horns. It all depends on what day of the week. See, on a Monday and Tuesday, or Wednesday, I should say Tuesday, Wednesday, there might be 3 horns. But on Thursday, big band. He had the big band on Thursday. He had a 14-piece band on Thursday because that was the night of the ladies from Long Island came into the city. And the guys all
and you got to get ready too.
They were ready. They were totally all ready. This was another world, man.
He's ready 24 hours a day, man.
This was another world, man, because the ladies, they came, they were decked, clean as a board of health, because it was their one day off that they had. It was a Thursday night, and every other Sunday. Because they work for, the families and stuff like that, and they were from other countries. It was the greatest thing in the world for musicians. I have to say, musicians had a choice, because if they liked you, they took care of you. They did, but they had to like you. And if you weren't savvy enough, they just walk right by you. Well, on a Thursday night, this time, almost a year later, Curtis says, "All right, come on, Purdie." Well, believe me, I was ready for him this time. I was totally ready for him. No problems, no hassle. Because when he called, Sister Sadie, I was there, and I was standing up. And I was this way now. I wasn't trying to do this. Ding, 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 ding. I knew where and how till I sat down and knew where things were. Because you couldn't adjust anything. You could not adjust your seat, cymbals, stand, snare drum, or anything. Couldn't do anything. And I was really ready. And then when they turned around and says, "Bam! You got it." And all I did was whack! Stopped everything. Stop.
Break it down.
Break it down. and then build my solo back up. Build my solo and did my solo, and I was smoking by the time I was coming out of my solo. I was kicked, and when I called for them to come back in, they came back in. Oh man, I was the seventh heaven.
Up in your wings, man.
I made it. I hit it.
Smuggler house.
I hit it hard, man. It was great. It was a wonderful evening for me. And that was the first night the band understood where I was coming from. Because they knew I went and had done my homework. I did my homework. Yeah.
I do that. Oh, give me that picture with him. John, no, we're here together. Look at the mirror. Hello. Yeah.
All right. Okay.
So the last one,
Pourquoi la soirée?
because you gotta pay.
Ça y est, tu vas commencer. Et toi, tu me donnes beaucoup d'argent là. Oh là là.
Oh man, you give so much.
Oh man, it
Man,
was,
I know small parodies and picture. I have that live. I have many things.
yeah. But it's just been wonderful for me because it's like a whole nother world that has happened.
Yeah,
I have grown tremendously just in my craft.
Right place, right time.
I stopped trying to be the best drummer in the world. I am the prettiest drummer. That's my title.
Yeah.
They got the other. That's too much like hard work to try to hold those kind of titles, man, being number one. Everybody's after that spot.
Yeah.
So when I learned about what was going on, because I got challenged for the last 40 years. I really got challenged.
Yeah.
And I says, I don't need this. I don't need it at all. Bam. So I changed my title. I am definitely not the the best drummer in the world. I am the prettiest. And that they can quote me from all around the world. When I sit down to play, I play pretty. That's all. I do my job.
There's one.
That's all.
There's one.
I
Only
do.
one.
I just do my job and everything works out fine.
Yeah.
Not trying to outdo anybody.
Hey, how did you meet Mr. James Brown? Because I did the great history.
Well, I go back to 1961. Was the first time that I played with James. Yes. This was when I came in, when there was a guy named Al Lucas, the bass player.
Yeah.
There was an arranger, and that arranger was Sammy Lowe. Well, Al Lucas had told Mr. Lowe, hey, this new kid, he's good, and he reads well. That was the thing, because I didn't know the other drummers didn't read. They didn't. They all did everything by ear. So that's when they started actually calling me to do the recording sessions. I started doing the recordings, and one of the very first ones that I did with him was Please, Please, Please. They finally gave me credit. It took them 25 years to give me credit on Please, Please, Please. So being with them and working with him, as time went on in the 60s, all of those records that James Brown was doing was all by the arranger, Sammy Lowe. He did the horn arrangements, he had the rhythms and all the percussion, all that stuff. This was not by accident.